Everybody, welcome back to Throttle Grotto, and this week I'm going to be working on the Datsun because WECFest is coming up. Weekfest, WECFest, I don't know, whatever it is. I'm trying to get into WECFest. I know, may not be the target audience, but figured I'd try something a little bit different. And so I need to change out a few things in order to make it look a little bit better. So if you're not familiar with what WECFest is, I think it's a curated event. You have to apply, and they tell you, did you get in or did you not? Pretty sure I didn't, but I signed up to be a vendor. Take the Datsun and have a little booth there. Figured it'd be fun. So here's what I've got. I bought a whole new carpet kit to go in here, and I went with brown just because I figured it'd be kind of like a 60s, 70s thing. It'd be cool, and actually, I think this is going to look really good in the yellow car. The other thing I have got coming is I'm getting a new dash tomorrow. Well, not new, but better than this one that is taped closed because of the glove box. The metal around it is just no longer able to grab the latch and hold it closed. So I'm going to change out the dashboard, and will give me an opportunity to change out my speedometer because the odometer doesn't work. Not a big deal. All the other gauges are working. Once I have everything apart, I can actually run power to the clock and get the clock lit up. Just, you know, not super important stuff, but I don't know, it'd be kind of nice to have all the gauges working and the clock. Might also give me the opportunity to move my electrical USB thing, put it in a little better spot. Not sure where that would be right now, but hey. So we're going to get the dash tomorrow morning. Going to refurbish the used dash to make it look nice enough to be worthy of putting in the car. It's already in better shape than this thing, you can tell. This thing is just cracked beyond belief. It's a 50-some-year-old foam dashboard, and they all do it. One of the challenges of getting this out of there is not taking the windshield out. As you can see, there's Phillips screws that run along the base here. Pretty much the worst place you could ever put screws to retain a dashboard. There's one right down in there too. I figured before I put the carpet in, I should probably take the old dashboard out, because as you can see, anytime I touch the dashboard, it just leaves rust. I'm not trying to save this dashboard. I think I'm just going to cut it. And then I can cut the bolts, because I'm going to have to put new bolts in anyway. They're so rusted. And I would rather put something in that I can get out later if I need to. And I don't think a Phillips is going to be the one that's going to do it. So I'm going to grab some different tools, and then I am going to destroy this dashboard because it's already destroyed. It's going in the trash anyway. I think what I settled on for a tool is this windshield knife. Seems like I can cut through the foam pretty easily and the crappy old vinyl, and then use a screwdriver to kind of pry things out gently so I don't break the window any more than it already is. And then I think I can get there and maybe chisel the head, pop the head of the screw off and release the dashboard. At least that's the goal. All right, so I found a longer blade, and I kind of bent it a bit to see if this would work. Maybe this will cut this bolt head off. It's possible that this thing might work. Might be able to have enough room to get in there with my battery-powered Sawzall. It does not appear that I have enough room. Nope, I'm just going to break things if I do that. All right, I'm going to try to go in here. Let's see if I can show you. There we go. Well, the sticker's in the way. I'm going to try to go in. Now the tripod's in the way of the door. Just winning. Winning today. So, I'm going to have to dig a few more pieces of foam out of the way here. Ugh. So sketchy working around the windshield that I can't afford to replace. I can't afford to take it out either because it's already got a crack in it. So if I take it out, it's going to have to be replaced. So I'm just going to try to get... So I can get a vice grips on it. Now I just have to see if I can get it to turn. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see if I can. So I'm actually getting it to turn. So that's a good sign. Let me see if I can get this to come out. All right, amazingly, that one came out really easily. I think that's because I soaked it pretty good with PB Blaster the other day. So let's move on to this one up here. See if I can have a similar level of success with using this vice grip technique and not breaking the window. So
2,000 years later.
All right, everyone. I broke off two of the bolts, but hopefully now that I can remove the dash, it shouldn't be too bad of a deal to fix those holes somehow once the dash is out of the way. Unfortunately, I kind of ran out of time for today, but I will work on this a bit more tomorrow and over the rest of the week, and also be working on the new dash. All right, so here we go. I have the replacement. I have the replacement dash here. It does have a few issues as well. The glove box looks like it was chewed out by a mouse. Fortunately, I have the whole liner for that in the other glove box. And of course, there's some dings and cracks and all that kind of stuff here in the top, which you would expect for a, what is this, 55-year-old dash. Can't expect too much from it. You know, swap parts around and all that kind of stuff, throw my gauges in there. And the big thing is to fix all these cracks, and we're going to respray the top of the dash so it looks better. I'm not expecting miracles. So what I do have is this. It's called padded dash filler. Works a lot like Bondo, but it's supposed to stay a little more flexible, so it's supposed to be good for these types of things. So we're going to give it a shot and see what we can do with this product, and then yeah, I'm going to use a little textured spray on the dash and just shoot the whole thing, and hopefully it looks a lot better when I'm done. That's a good sign. The clock came out in one piece. On my dash, one of those studs is broken, so I can't attach. It just flops around. Same thing over here is one of the studs that holds the tack in is broken, so I can't install that either. All right, so I ended up having to make a slit in that knob because the set screw was stripped out. I don't know what they made this out of, but it is one of the most terrible smelling things I've ever cut in my life. Ugh, smelled like a sack of wet hamsters. All right, I'm going to leave the knob for the odometer reset in there because I don't even know if it's going to work with the new odometer. And you can see here it has like the tiniest screws ever. These are like probably a 5 or 6 mil nut that are here. I don't have a lot of confidence that those are going to come out without breaking off. So we're just going to leave it in place. I can tape over the knob. And if I can't ever use the odometer reset again, it's not that terrible of a deal because the odometer in my cluster doesn't work anyway. Cursory inspection, this thing does look like it's going to be in decent shape. I'll have to come up with a way to attach the defrost vent. I don't even know if I have defrost vents in my dash. Everything's so hammered and broken in that poor dashboard. But now we get started. Oh, yeah, the other thing I'm not going to take out is this dimmer switch because, again, this is kind of the same deal. It's attached with 2 of the tiniest nuts ever. And if I don't have to change it, if it works, great. If not, I just bypass the dimmer switch anyway and just let the LEDs go full on. Okay, so the first step, according to the website, is to V out all of the places that you have cracks. So we're going to do that. I might actually V it out with a knife just to get a little sharper, better edge. Okay, the next part of this repair, I'm not too sure about, but what it says to do is to melt urethane rod into where the foam is. I don't know why, but apparently it gives it some kind of backfill or structure for the adhesive mess to attach to. Okay, so I went through and filled all of the junk in here, and yes, it looks terrible right now, but that's to be expected. I do have one more spot that I missed right there, kind of in that 2 spots in that groove. And then the next step is to sand all of this down, all these pieces that I've added, and hopefully they don't come off. It looks like they're gonna come off. They said to sand it with 80 grit and just use real short strokes. And yeah, it seems like this will work. So I'm gonna try to re-stick that. So now that we got these pieces filled, I guess the next step is to use the padded dash filler, much like Bondo. And fill all the little cracks that we've filled with plastic filler. So you get a tiny little can, it's only 8 ounces, and then you get a massive tube of hardener. looks like I cut right through the directions. Good job. For a golf ball size of filler, squeeze a 2-inch ribbon of cream hardener from tube and mix thoroughly. So 50 to 1, 20 to 30 minutes before sanding. Okay, so now that the putty that smells almost exactly like Bondo has dried, I say to sand it just like Bondo. 180, 220, and then we put some texture on it and some paint, and it's done. Okay, so I've got this all sanded down, wiped it down with wax and grease remover. The next step is to use a texture spray on it. Unfortunately, I could not find SEM texture spray, so we're going to use rocker panel coating because I have it. So I'm going to shoot a layer of rocker panel coating, and before you all freak out about this stuff, this is all hidden by the A-pillar anyway, so I'm not as concerned about that. So I'm going to throw a nice sunny coat of rocker panel coating on here.
Oh God, please, no! No! No!
And see what happens. All right, at this point, those of you that can afford to go to just dashes are hurling things at your computer or have thrown your phone well across the room, probably into a ravine, and said, "What is wrong with you?" So I can't afford just dashes. I can afford just this dash. So this is the reason I have to texture the whole thing is because once I put on the smooth filler product, there's smooth spots in the dash. I have to put some kind of texture back on here. Now, this is probably more texture than most would like, but this is almost dry. Like, that's the nice thing about doing this in the sun, is now I can go over the rocker panel coating, which seems to be adhering pretty well. I can go over the rocker panel coating with a layer of satin black paint, and hopefully this will look really nice.
Not smart. Not smart at all.
Okay, for those of you that are still subscribed to the channel after this, I appreciate you. Actually, it doesn't look factory. I'm not going to like try to mince words or say anything. I don't know how you could get the vinyl texture back into the product without a really, really difficult job. If you want a factory finish, just dashes is definitely the way to go. But for like $100 total, including what I paid for this used dash, this is going to look a lot better than what I had. Not having any cracks, everything being uniform color. There's actually metal inside the dash to work with as opposed to rotten garbage. So yes, not ideal, but I think once I get it in the car with the new carpet and everything, it's going to look a ton better. So I'm going to let this dry for a few hours out here in the sun. All right, so you might be asking yourself, hey, why didn't you just refinish the dash that was in the car? This is the dash that was in the car. The whole back side of it. I had to cut it in half just so I could get to these cables, because I had to cut these cables, so I couldn't get the part to release from the center of the dash. Like you can see where the gauges mount, everything's rusted. Like, this dash is just, it's hammered. Everything's loose, falling out of it. Yeah, there was no saving this dash. If it was a early metal dash, maybe it would have been worth it, but okay, so after a few struggles, I got it mounted back in the car. It's bolted in at the top. Of course, I'm missing 2 spots where the bolts had broken off. And it looks like I had a little bit of shrinkage up in this place right here. It's not perfect. But it is a measurable amount better than it was before. And the finish actually looks okay in here. I may still end up putting a dash cap over this at some point. But for now, this is a pretty significant improvement over what we had. Okay, so all of the dash stuff is hooked back up. I've got all the dash lights working again. You probably can't see it in here, but those are all back working. I got the clock. The clock is actually running. Looks like it's been running for about an hour and a half now. It actually works, which is impressive. So what I have left to do, install the carpet. It didn't come with this piece or the piece that goes along the back wall. So I have a centerpiece, the 2 pieces for the main area, a piece that goes here behind the seats, and a piece for the trunk. So unfortunately, this is still going to be gnarly trunk carpet from a Chevy Impala until I can find some brown carpeting and find something at the junkyard and cut it up to fit. So I think it's time to throw some turd polish in here. Okay, it wasn't that easy. But throw some light in here so you can see what's happening. Man, it looks a million times better inside the car. Wow, yeah. I cannot not recommend that Polyvance dash filler enough. I got a big crack in the top of the dash. Putting a couple of bolts in, I've got actually a few cracks in the dash. So I'm back to the same garbage I started with. Just looks less professional now. Yeah, so that was a crap ton of work and $100 for the dash and the filler. And yeah, it cracked. So this car is just destined to have a cracked dash. All right, I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I've had a day. All right, so that was 2 full days of work to pull the dash, fix it, putting it back in, hook everything up, and then do the carpet kit. So shout out to Newark Auto for the carpet kit. It actually fits pretty good. There's a few pieces that I wish I would have got instead of a trunk mat, but I'm not going to put the trunk piece in right now. I don't want to take the spare out. That's future Jeff's problem. Wish there would have been a couple pieces to go up the sides. Sorry, this microphone is terrible. Keeps rubbing on my neck when I use it, so I had to buy another one. It just hasn't shown up yet. So I'm feeling pretty dumb and worthless as a YouTuber right now because all that work I did, the dash just cracked all over again. So just a quick update on the 928 if you're still interested in that. I've reached out to a bunch of companies, a bunch of people from YouTube, a bunch of people on Instagram, a bunch of people through email. Nobody responded. So that's not helping feeling good about projects right now. So I think the best thing to do is take the rest of the weekend off and not work in the garage. Car stuff isn't going well right now. But you guys don't want to hear about that. But nobody likes sad pandas. They all like happy pandas. So I'm going to go and stuff my face and have a beer and edit this video. And that's it. So until next time, get out there and work on something.